Alright, we are recording for Tale 36. Yeah, 36 from Grimm's Fairy Tales. Clever Elsie. Oy. This isn't an oi about it being a bad story, it's an oi of what the story is. Man and woman have a daughter. Clever Elsie. They say she's so clever. Father decides it's time she gets married. Alright, eventually a man comes. His name is Hans. Just thinking about clever Hans from that, but in any case, Hans comes. And he says, alright, I'll marry her, but only if she's really wise. I'm looking forward to when I go through more Tolkien, because one thing that occurred to me when I last read The Lord of the Rings is it seems like his concept of wisdom is a kind of forethought. That you can take the information that you have now, and from that figure out what is going to come into the future, which is not always what we consider wisdom today. So by that reasoning, Elrond, who has a gift of foresight, is also he is recognized as one of the wisest people in the whole Middle Earth, and it's that wisdom is the foresight. Is kind of how I see that. His is also special. It does seem like he is special because there are others that are wise. There's the whole wise council, but he's special in that regard. Anyway, we kind of see an example of this kind of, it's like taking the information and seeing a future from it, but not tempered by sense. So they send Elsie down to the cellar to get some beer for people to drink because they're having a dinner. It's, mother, father, there's a maid, there's a boy. Don't know where the boy came from. Hans and Elsie's now been sent down, and she is very smart and decides to, bring a stool to sit on with the pitchers. She puts that under the tankard, the barrel, turns on the tap, opens up the tap, and is like, okay, I'm on the stool, so now I don't have to stoop over or anything like that. I'd be more comfortable. But as she's waiting, she's already tapping on the lid of the thing to just help the time pass a little more quickly, without noticing the time passing so much. And so she's sitting there and it's just, looking around, to not be idle. And eventually looks up and sees there's a pickaxe that was left by the builders in the ceiling of the cellar. And this is where that whole wisdom thing that I was just talking about comes in. Because she started thinking about how, because it's directly over where she is. So it's thinking about how, if I marry Hans and we have a child, and the child ends up being so large, then if he's ever sent down to get the beer in this home, then he may strike his head against the pickaxe and die. And that's so terrible. And so she starts crying and screaming. Now, they don't hear her upstairs, but they then send, because, why isn't she back yet? Hey, maid, go check on her. Maid goes down. Why are you weeping? Explains this thing, and the maid decides, that is so horrible, and you're so clever, and starts weeping herself. Boy, you go down. He starts weeping. The mother goes down. She starts weeping. The father goes down. He's now weeping. And it's all, you're so clever. Finally, Hans comes down. And I was really hoping, but there was more than a page left, so I was really hoping he was going to be like, we just won't send him down for beer. We'll move it. There's so many solutions. No, he's. Here, let me just. Come, more understanding than that is not needed for my household. As thou art such a clever Elsie, I will have thee. I'm just. What joke can I make that isn't going to get me in the most trouble right now? Because I kind of feel like this is one of those situations where, you know what? Maybe if it is the whole that old, and I do get that it is offensive. I do get that, but it does seem like, if he could keep Elsie just barefoot in the kitchen kind of thing, it's like that might be best. Because that is stupid. And the story's not done yet. She really is stupid. But it's like, and to be fair, this, like, clever Hans earlier would also be, maybe we need to keep you in just a very like, I love you, can make, but maybe we need to keep you right here because we can't really trust you to do anything. Hans has to go out to work. They've been married for a while. Hans has to go out to work and says to her, honey, go out into the field, harvest some corn for dinner. Okay. He leaves. She fixes herself some broth so that, she has something to eat. So she has broth. She goes out into the field, and now it's okay, do I want to start working or do I want to eat? I'm going to eat first, so she eats first. All right, fine, whatever. So she eats until she's satisfied. Great. Now it's do I eat or do I sleep now? I'll sleep now. You have a job. You have a responsibility right now. You're not doing it. So she falls asleep. Hans comes back. He's in the house. And it's like, oh, she's not here. Wow. I am so fortunate. I have such an industrious wife that she's out there. She forgot that, it's dinner time. She forgot to come home to eat because she's so busy working. Isn't that wonderful? So he keeps waiting. Finally decides, all right, I'm going to go out and try to find her. Finds her there, still asleep, amongst all the corn. So he decides, all right, there's actually a term for it, but it sounds like it's basically just a net with bells on it. Brought a fowler's net with little bells. Okay, so a fowler's net, I would think that's, well, for catching birds and such, so you throw that over and if they move it, or something like that. Or maybe it is you put it up. That actually would make more sense. If it's something like you put up in a tree so that a bird could fly through it and get caught, and so it's shaking all the bells, and so something's been caught. But puts that on her. Heads back inside, sits down in his chair and waits. When she finally awakens, and she's now moving, there are these bells here, is it I or is it not I? She doesn't know she is Elsie anymore because of the bells. I will go home and ask. If it be I or if it be not I. They will be sure to know. Goes to the window, knocks on it because the door is shut. Hans, is Elsie within? Yes, she is within. I wouldn't, but I understand this man. So she is now like, okay, that means I'm not Elsie. So she leaves and starts knocking on other doors, other windows, to ask who she is. But because of the bells, everyone's freaked out, and so no one goes to her. And she just leaves the town. It's like no one ever sees her again. Either way, but then she ran out of the village, and no one has ever seen her since. It's like, So, I'm really hoping that the moral here concerns stupidity being taken for wisdom, because that's a real thing. That's a real thing. And I can say that not only because I've observed it, I can say that because I've been that kind of stupid. There's a game. I reviewed it a while ago. I'm just trying to see what... If I see the name, I'll recognize it. Lifeless Moon, that's it. Oh boy, I went at that game in that review because some of what they were talking about there is like, I remember having those same thoughts in high school. And then as I got older, I realized I was an idiot. And it's like the whole crux of the game's story is this. But not only that it's this really stupid, unthought out concept, but it's also what they do in the story with it contradicts itself. Because it was the whole all is one kind of thing. It's like once you achieve that understanding fully, that then you become a greater being is what they're presenting there. It's like, okay, so the idea of all is one, I get how there's some wisdom there, but there's also other things need to be considered with that. Because it's like, all is one does not mean that all is necessarily equal. And stuff. But in any case, once these people figure out all is one, what happens is they become godlike. Which is like, okay, so what you're saying, and this is in Lifeless Moon, just to be clear, not in the story. But so what you're saying is that by recognizing all is one, that now separates you from the all to make you a higher being, so all is no longer one. Did no one read that? Read that story and realize, hey, aren't we contradicting ourselves? Because, I mean, or was it just somebody finally realized that and would have been like, yeah, we can't change it now. We've done too much work, but yeah, this doesn't work. I went at that story in there, and part of it was, as I said, I know I'd had that thought before in high school, and I was stupid for it. It's like now I'm seeing it presented in this game, and it's not only stupid on its own, but you're contradicting the concept. Oh man. So yes, stupidity can be confused for wisdom. Because they see that she's considering these possibilities with the pickaxe. Oh, that's so clever. But it's like, but we can just avoid this issue. Like, it needs to be tempered. Like, that wisdom still needs to be tempered. That foresight needs to be tempered. Because it's like, that's just one thing that could happen. Might also be you never have kids. Might be you just live somewhere else. Might be you move the barrel. Might be you get somebody to come in here and remove the pickaxe without it collapsing the ceiling. I mean, it's like, or even just not have the stool there. If you move it, now it's fine. I mean, it's like there's so many solutions here that would temper this. I mean, it is a more of a, oh, that could be a problem one day. We should address that instead of, oh, that may be a problem someday. It'll be this terrible problem. So I guess we should, just start crying because it's going to happen. It's like, what the hell, man? But I am also left wondering about Hans a little bit here. Because of the whole, I don't need more than this to be in my household. Does he realize that she's stupid? Because, I mean, there could be some men where it's like, okay, she is stupid. But you know what? I don't need her to be anything else. There are some men that are absolutely like that. And could be like, you know what? This is fine. I can work with this. I wouldn't. Because it's... I mean, ultimately, it's like... That the mother of the kids, even the kids take after me, are going to be smart. They're still going to be around her all the time. I need her to be smarter than that. But, I mean, it's just... But then Hans does get rid of her in a kind of a clever way. So I'm like... Did he, like, always figure this would happen? Did he figure she's stupid, so if she becomes a problem for me, I can take advantage of her stupidity to get rid of her, so that she will just leave. Like, was that the guy? I don't know. I do kind of wonder. But no, I am going to go with, this is not just a humorous story. This is telling a moral, making the point of, she was stupid. Everyone was saying that she's smart, but she's actually stupid. And you need to avoid that in your life. You need to have that tempered wisdom, where when you see a problem like that, you solve it. And also you understand your responsibilities as well, that you don't just decide, well, I could sleep or I could work. No, you need to work because you were asked to, and I just want to make sure I have it. You go into the field and cut the corn that we may have some bread. That's what he had asked her to do. It's like, her responsibility is that. So yes, ultimately you do need to eat, you do need to sleep. But you need to satisfy that responsibility first. Like, that is a higher responsibility. I mean, if you're hungry, then yes, you need to eat. But if it is not time for you to sleep yet, you need to get the stuff to make the bread. I mean, it's like, I could see it being that this story does have that moral of those things. That the tempering wisdom, tempering foresight, rather, in some ways, tempered foresight is wisdom. Along with the whole sense of responsibility. So, but oh my God. I'm just kind of wondering, are there women like that today? How much of a caricature is that? And it's like, in some ways, I don't think that there are many women that are that stupid today. I mean, they probably do exist, but I don't think that there would be many. But there is some weird feminine logic out there. I'm just trying to remember any good examples that I've observed. None of it really coming to mind. To be fair, I mean, it's like, yeah, men are stupid too. Don't ever think we're not. But oh man, just all right. After this is the four skillful brothers. It looks like there might be some kind of dragon in this. Oh, and then we get a clever Gretel. I. Oof. Now I'm also kind of wondering, because of clever Hans, he was clearly stupid. Clever Elsie, she was clearly stupid. I wonder with Gretel if she'll be stupid. If this is a mocking of the concept of cleverness. Well, not so much a concept, but the if one is simply being called clever, that doesn't actually mean they are. It could also be an element of that. There's also, if you keep saying, oh, somebody's so clever, somebody's so clever, somebody's so clever, then people will start just thinking that whatever they say or do is clever, and yeah. I think I know what it is. I think that's it. I think it's being there. Yes, it is. Let me just. Yes. Okay. So, Being There was a movie from 1979 with Peter Sellers. I have not seen it, but I have heard about it, where he is stupid, but accidentally ends up in a situation where people don't realize that he is stupid. And he ends up answering, the various questions of those around him, and people are confusing it for intelligence, for wisdom. And it's not like Forrest Gump. Okay, it's not like that. Forrest Gump is like actually, and it's been a while since I've seen that, because that's more. You do have some of that accidental stuff, like the whole smiley face thing. But some of that is also no. He legitimately did do things. He did have various achievements. My understanding of Being There is he just will repeat things that he heard, and people think that that's great, even though it doesn't actually apply. It doesn't make any sense. They still think that, and all the stuff happens. That's kind of what we're getting here, and it's just you need to be leery of that, because it was people thought that he's so wise, so whatever he says they'll just believe. It's like that's not necessarily. You know what? Actually, no. Forrest Gump with the whole running thing with the smiley face, how people just start following him, assuming that there's some purpose, some meaning here. And it's like, no, he just, when he's confused, he runs until he's no longer confused. It's simple. It's very simple. And so when he stops and I don't even remember what he says. As I said, it's been a while. But people were just attaching themselves to him, thinking that there's something more here. It's like there isn't. I wonder if that's the criticism being applied with clever Hans and clever Elsie. Don't just assume that. Don't just assume that they are clever and therefore go with whatever they're saying. Oh, well, that's mainly with Elsie, because Hans was. Nah, I think everyone knew he was stupid. Anyway. Alright, so yeah, as I said, it will be the four skillful brothers next, and I shall see you then.